Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and this is part 3 on shame. If you've been with us, we've been looking at a great article called 10 Life-Changing Ways to Move Through Shame. And I've expressed that I tend to be shame-based. It's not all the time, but sadly I do revisit it, depending on how stressed out I am, how insecure I'm feeling. I'm challenged by things that are like bigger than me in the moment. I tend to become shame-based. So a couple of the quotes were one by Carl Jung, which was, "Shame is a soul-eating emotion." Can you imagine? And by Brené Brown, "Shame derives its power from being unspeakable." And there's no doubt that if you're a person who comes from shame, you may very well have been told that you didn't have the right to speak. You may have been hushed by like a perpetrator. There's many ways that shame wants to be in the dark. And these 10 life-changing ways to move through shame are actual tools. You do not need to do all 10. You don't have to certainly do them all at once, but you can pick one or two, and each of them actually has a practice or a practicum, if you will, that helps you to put it into action. So for the first part, this is the third video, we actually did steps 1 through 4, which was just getting to know shame, recognizing it in your body, recognizing your story, why you come from that. The second video was 5 through 7, which was actually going deeper. And finally, this last one, which is 8 through 10, is the final product of moving forward, which is essential, right? And again, I don't expect any overnight changes. This isn't something where you read the article once and you're healed. It actually takes work, like so many things, but it's a great introduction. And I encourage you to put this article aside and revisit it. And again, choose the step that might appeal to you and do the practice and see if it eases your burden. All right, so moving forward, number 8 was find the strength in being vulnerable. There's actually power in allowing yourself to be vulnerable. So it says vulnerability gets a bad rap these days, but it actually is relief from having to hide from yourself, the simplicity of just being as you are without having to change anything. So again, this falls into self-acceptance. Whatever you feel is your present moment experience. Resisting it creates endless suffering, and welcoming it in its path leads to inner peace. This is the medicine for the secret of shame. Be as you are, not in the story of who you think you are, so what was put upon you by others, that is denigrating and destructive. You've lived there too long. Instead, shift your attention away from these thoughts and allow your current experience as it is. This sensations, this breath, touching, hearing, looking, speaking. It's so relaxing because you don't have to hide or grasp. You can just be. Do you love that idea? I love that idea. Okay, so here's the practice. Begin to get comfortable being with whatever you are experiencing in any given moment. Start with just a few moments until you see that it is okay, capital OK. That whatever you're afraid will happen won't. And then more and more, let yourself be. I love the idea of that. You know, they always say that only 8% of all fears ever come to fruition. So 92% of what we've read about will never be. All right, number 9, sacred honesty with yourself, right? I mean, if you're in denial with yourself, how much worse to allow others to have your power when you can't even be at peace with yourself, by yourself, within yourself. Wow. And I still get that. I mean, I'm just processing this for me as well. So it says, when you live in shame, you are constantly lying to yourself. You draw yourself into a trance. Remember how I talked about disassociation? Like for me, I have so many food issues, disassociating to the point of having food on my plate, not knowing how it got there. Having wrappers around me of consumed nonsense without any sense that I had not only purchased it, but participated in it. So bad. So You're constantly lying to yourself. You draw yourself into a trance that makes you believe you are inadequate, unworthy, and just plain wrong. The truth is, it's just plain inaccurate. So if you listen to the other ones a little earlier on, it was saying that if you saw your life through the eyes of an investigator, would the investigator find what you're saying to be true? Or might they see a rather capable person, a worthy person in society, a highly functioning individual with skills? You know what I mean? So can you get outside yourself and actually investigate whether the lies that have been put upon you and that you continue to manifest within yourself are valid? And if they're not, can you let them go? All right, so healing from shame invites radical honesty. Are you up for it? Whenever you are feeling separate and lacking, question your experience. Find the gap, which was the second one on this, and recognize the thoughts and feelings in your body that have taken hold. So again, all emotions create a physical response as well. Then realize that who you are is so much more than this identity. To be perfectly honest, you are whole, unbroken, and infinitely at peace. Keep returning here. Become more and more transparent so the light of truth shines through. I love that. I love that. I am not there, but I love the idea. Okay, so the practice is investigate your direct experience with a discerning eye to see what is true and what is false. Live in the truth of yourself as whole, full, pure, and capable. Okay, number 2, a wide open heart. Shame is all about limitation, holding back and keeping yourself separate and isolated. And where's your heart? Wounded, stuck, and closed? Begin to live with a heart wide open. Move your attention outside of your head to notice the beauty and tenderness around you. It's been there all along. You just haven't noticed. Let yourself be touched by the simple experiences of daily life. Shame is a filter that keeps you from life, and dissolving the filter leaves you available and receptive. Without even trying, you begin to notice love and appreciation, where before you held back, now you engage. Recovering from shame opens you to be fully alive. Here's the practice. Find within you the courage to begin to open your heart. Instead of being absorbed in shame, experience things and people with fresh eyes. When you notice that you are closed, open, open, open. What about you? Are you caught in shame? Believe me, you're not alone. Have you discovered how to move through it? Anyway, this woman who created this article, and I think it's a fabulous one, really, especially since it allows for tools in the practice section, is Dr. Gail Brenner. The happiness you seek is already here. It's a beautiful message and so important. So again, let's just kick through these really quickly. Under the first video, it was shame, getting to know shame. One was be a courageous explorer, like be open to objectively looking at it. Number 2 was find the gap, like does this really match who you are today? Number 3, what's the story? Meaning the one that's been put upon you maybe, and whether it's true for you or not. And number 4, how does shame live in your body? The idea that emotions are manifested physically, somehow in your body. And then the second video was going deeper. It was how do you speak to yourself, right? Is it all negative self-talk? How can you break that habit? Number 6 was know how and why you isolate. So in what way? Living in shame is often lonely and isolating, and not judging shame, but welcoming it instead is the beginning of forming a new healthy relationship with yourself. Number 7, is there fear there? And I often recognize that. Shame and fear often go hand in hand. And then finally, what we just covered today, which was the ability to move forward, find the strength in being vulnerable. There's freedom in saying your truth. Have sacred honesty within yourself. I mean, if you can't be honest with yourself, right? And number 10, have a wide open heart to this experience called life. All right, people, that's it on shame. I'd love to hear where you're at. Once again, in addition, we are very much in our October challenge of losing inches or gaining inches, whatever the need of your body is. I'm here to support you on that as well and would love to know how you're doing. I'm only going to do my measurement on November 4th, which will be the first month. And then in addition to that, we are also in the middle of our Rainbow Produce Challenge, where you are trying to incorporate as many fresh fruit and vegetables as you can. And there is a couple videos ago, an actual chart for that to support you. All right. As always, if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. And best of all, my friends, know, shame or not, you are blessed.